Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin with a little bit of a different type of content video today that I'm going to show you lots of different things here today, and they're going to be items that I've been holding on to because I hold on to things. And what you're going to see today are items, some of which you've already seen, some of which you've maybe never seen. You know, we'll get to the mystery of this in just a little bit. But also, what I'm doing here is actually selling off some stuff that I've just kind of kept, kind of some personal items, and I've just decided that it's time to part ways with some things. And there's going to be coins, metals, tokens, all kinds of things. Some things you've seen more recently than others. And at the time of this filming, not everything is has been priced. But one of the things that I want to point out here is, you know, partially I'm just going through a little bit of the same emotional and intellectual journey that y'all go through when it comes to collecting things and holding on to things. And that is, you know, at some point you've decided, made up in your mind, you know, I'm going to do something a little bit different. And that's kind of what I've done. I've said, you know what, I need to let go of some things here because it's the right thing to do. So, without further ado, let me start walking through some things with you, and we're going to have some fun. So there's lots of stuff that I get in that ends up not being for sale, you know, and you find these fun things like this, the stickers from the annual Dollar Days at Pocatello. Of course, where I'm from, that would be pronounced Pocateo, you know, but that's a whole other thing. Really cool graphics, advertising graphics on these pieces here, you know, and so these will be like 45 bucks plus shipping per coin on those, of course. Kind of fun. This is one of my favorite things. I love coin related items. This little box, it's silver, and you know, it's got some of the silver hallmarks here. You want to see that line facing left here. And, you know, it's a little coin purse, right? But coin box, whatever you want to call it. But unless it already had the coins in it, I don't think I would have figured out what it was for, right? So it's actually for half sovereigns and sovereigns. How cool is that? You know, so super cool. You know, just to have the history there, the way that they made these things. So, and what's interesting to me is that they had marked the silver marking on the different pieces, just the way that it was made, right? So this piece has a silver hallmark on it, and so does that piece, which I find really, really fascinating. So anyway, this is $150. That is without any coins. The spring works on this side. This side needs a little adjustment probably, but that's one of my favorite little things. You know, we'll find a home for these little half sovereigns somewhere else probably, right? All right, so up next I've got I got a bunch of these guys in that I've been kind of holding on to. I'm really a fan of the Hearts Coins of the West. You know, stuff that came out with, during, and in conjunction with expositions fascinate me, and it's just kind of a fun area of collecting. And this is the 1849 dated piece. That's $650 on that guy. Really fun. Man, it's hard for me not to like that type of stuff, right? And then here's the Oregon one. You know, fantasy issues, but they were issued in these big, they had a big frame that had all of them in it. The Union, and then it's got like a coast, and then it's got like a plow. Pretty interesting. I'm guessing 1914. I'm guessing that the number of stars on here, this one's 550, might represent how many states we had in the Union at the time. I don't know. Is that plausible? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only if we only had 24 states. Probably not. Yeah, nice thinking, buddy. All right, we'll go away from that one. This one's a little bit more well known. I mean, you see a little bit more frequently, the Alaskan gold. Alaska Yukon Pacific Exposition, 1909. Half a pennyweight. Some of them were pinches, some were pennyweights. MS63, that's $3.50 on that. That's a fun piece. Speaking of some stuff that's a little bit more on the personal side, so I have collected for a long time things that are Reformation related. And there's both coins and metals that are involved in that process. This is a 1630 half thaler. That I have priced at $2.90. But really neat piece. And what's fun about that is I have the half thaler, and then I have the thaler. And the half thaler is graded, removed from jewelry and cleaned. And you can see it's a little bright compared to the one on the right. This is the thaler. Nice XF45. Same design. Not centered exactly, but really a very robust design and popular for anyone who collects Reformation related items. 1530 to 1630, it was a centennial celebration on that piece. This one's pretty pricey. That one's $7.50 on that guy, and maybe it's still a really good deal. I don't know. Some of you will definitely remember this coin. So this, this is the coin that they call artificial toning, which I'm still beside myself about, just because, the coin is one of the nicest looking 8 reals I've ever had, and the toning is definitely all original. I don't know what else to say. There's not too many things I'm actually that staunch about, that convicted of. I'll say, well, I agree, I disagree on stuff, but rarely will I be that emphatic. This coin here, it's $1,000 if somebody wants it. Otherwise, it is staying back. I was going to say it's $100,000, but I like some presidential stuff. I've collected some presidential items. This is a cool 1904 piece with Roosevelt in Fairbanks, and it's in the shape of, there's Roosevelt's glasses, in the shape of his glasses. His glasses became so iconic that they were made into, let's see if I can open this without breaking it. They were made into different type of advertisements, right? And so that happens sometimes when you get something that's really iconic. Glasses sometimes do that for you. Really cool pinback piece. Surprise, surprise, from Chicago. Yeah, that's one of my favorite little pieces of presidential history. It's $190 on that guy. Speaking of World's Fair stuff and things that are kind of cool, a lot of these pop-out coins were produced for different World's Fairs. So in case you didn't remember, this is what this coin should look like, and that's what it does look like. And there's modern versions of these, and then there's older versions of these. They're so cool. I mean, the design elements on these, the way that the face is just busting out of the coin. Amongst my favorite things, numismatically speaking, which is fun because, a lot of my favorite numismatic things are things that are no longer in their original form, which is shocking to some people. There's some purists out there, that's $175 on that guy. There's some purists out there that they only want to see things kind of one way. But I've always enjoyed seeing things, reused. So like this charm bracelet, in this guy will be $150 on this guy. It's really cool for me. I love the love tokens, but also this one's fun because it has a combination of Canadian and US, and also there's a little Japanese coin down here at the end. And that's just, to me, fun because, okay, what's the history on the family here, right? Where did they live? Where did they live that in this time period they came up with a Japanese coin? I mean, to me, it's pretty highly unusual. to see this combination of things put together. Just a really, really cool piece. So most of my little love tokens and chains and necklaces end up on the walls here at the shop, and people enjoy seeing them and talking about them and looking at them, and it's kind of fun. This is a coin that I just was so taken with that I kept. This coin is from 1925 from Yemen, and it has, just to me, a beautifully artistic design, and also a level of condition and originality that you just don't see in most things that you own. And it's not expensive. It's $3.90. Yeah, I know expense is a relative term, but relative to some things in life, it's not that expensive. And I just said, you know what, for that, I didn't want to sell it. But it is now for sale. This is really interesting because I was just looking at the way the lines flow, die cracks, and things of that nature. And every now and again on a foreign coin, coins were struck over other coins. And based on some of the lines on this, I'm just looking beneath. I'm looking at the surface. It almost looks like this could have been struck over another coin. But I'm not saying it was, I'm just saying it may have been. Who likes big boxes? I know I do. And who likes the Centennial Celebration? Look at this purple velvet. Crushed velvet. So super cool. International Exhibition, Philadelphia, MDCCCLXXXVI. Awarded by United States Centennial Commission. So there's a huge fair in Philadelphia in 1876 to celebrate the centennial of the country. And you had beautiful pieces like this. And it's Pandora's box. I didn't tell you that's what this box is, but this box is Pandora's box. Because the reality is, if you start collecting centennial medals, just watch out. You'll buy them all. But by the way, can I just say, this is an area to collect where you can spend a lot of money, but also a ton of this product, a ton of this stuff in the marketplace is actually less than it was 25 years ago. And so, you know, when you look for lots of this type of material, if you search for 1876 centennial medals, and you just want to start getting into it, you'll see a lot of this stuff available pretty inexpensive for open bid on eBay. Now, plenty of people, of course, on eBay want an arm and a leg for everything they own, but, you know, we're not all cannibals. One of my favorite little Reformation pieces is this, because it's got Noah's Ark on it. How fun is that? This has been gold plated, 1717. It's got a hole on it and a loop on the other end. Clearly it was made into a piece of jewelry. And on the other side you have Martin Luther, looking distinguished, holding his Biblia. Fun little piece. This, I think, 175 on that guy. By the way, I've had that since 2003. So that's 20 years of service there. Go back to another Reformation related piece. This one's, you know, more of a circulating commemorative. Some of them are medallions, but this is actually, what was this little guy here? 1717, so the 200th anniversary, and it's upside down. Look at that. You know, some of you celebrate Halloween, some of us celebrate Reformation, October 31st. 200th anniversary, Darmstadt. This one's $60 on that guy. Back to some stuff that it took me a long time to find. Yeah, it's kind of ironic. I didn't know I had my phone plugged in. Something that I looked for a long time was actually this platinum set. Because, for those of you who don't know, in the platinum world, back in the late 90s and early 2000s, they created these sets in individual coins where they did regional designs. So I think there's 5 different designs. You got like the coast of Maine with a lighthouse. And then, of course, these saguaro cactuses. The area we live in here has Saguaro National Monument. And, you know, cacti, actually like the prickly pear cactus, is found on every continent from what I understand. And then these guys here, saguaros, are only in the Sonoran Desert. So south of Phoenix through northern Mexico. And so people come from all over the world just to see these, which of course I had no idea growing up because, you know, a fish doesn't know he's in water. On to something else completely different. An original tube of Star Wars Stormtroopers, 25 coins. Right? That's wild. Who holds on to stuff like this? What kind of a crazy person? Crazy guy. Well, hopefully, hopefully the same guy who's holding on to 25 original Scrooge McDucks. I don't know. I don't know if this is actually like embarrassing or fun or what. I mean, at some point, there's going to be some psychoanalysis going on here as to what this guy collected and why. This actually I had a video on pretty recently. These East Spence Dealer in Coins series. And super cool. The End of Oppression. Good times. We are burning some documents up there. Let's keep burning stuff here. I like a lot of burning going on. I find these tokens just eternally fascinating. But there's several different designs here. This one with the caduceus on it. There's just a whole lot of people who want freedom, right? And so we all fight for freedom in our own ways. But, you know, I find some of these really, really intriguing, just the thought processes. We were born free and we will never die slaves. Anyways, these 4 tokens I was going to price as a group. I think I had a number on one of them. 1,500 for the 4 of them. Thomas Spence, Sir Thomas More, and Thomas Paine. A lot of guys connected there in that world. All right, what else we got going on here? Some of you will remember, I haven't put a price on this quite yet, but I have a coin belt here that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17 $17 on it. That's a pretty big coin belt. A lot of coin belts were made pretty small, not that many coins, just because, you know, this is still too small for me, but I'm just saying lots of them were made for small people. I don't know if that's the politically correct way to do it. I feel like we should be going down the tracks here, like a railroad track. Anyway, I got to get a price on that guy still, but that's one of my favorite things. It's been up in the store for several years now. But moving on to more of my favorite things, I've had a few of you guys ask about the short snorter combination with the atomic dollar, but then it also had with it this piece that actually had the times and days of the runs that they did, the flights. And very good historical piece. This I'm going to price at $400 and see what happens. I mean, I think it's worth that historically, you know, but I'm not always right about some of these things. So, all right, what else do we got going on here? Let's see. This is another Reformation piece. This is a guy named Zwingli, who famously, you know, had differences with Martin Luther on some stuff, and the famous interaction between them, as always, was over communion. But Martin Luther, while listening to him, took out some chalk. They were eating at a table or something, and he wrote, you know, his Bible passage on. Martin Luther wrote his Bible passage, his direct quote from the Bible, right onto the table, and then got up and left. He was just like, "This is my body," you know. So anyway, I chuckle at it because, you know, from my perspective, Martin Luther was just a interesting character. You know, he had tons and tons of faults and foibles, as we all do, but it's just really interesting to me. He was known to have kind of a sharp tongue. Here's another reformer, holla. And I don't know if that tag is the 115 is the right number on that or not. It might be. $18.28 on that metal. Pretty cool piece. Also, speaking of love tokens, how about some gold love tokens? These were obviously in some type of like a cuff link or something. 1854, 1868, both kind of unusual years for coins. That one's pretty nice. These would be $3.25 each on those guys. I got numbers on those. And then we have stars upon ours. Here we got some bars. And as always, ill-prepared. My notes are not in front of me. Oh man, this is the same guy who made the eagle's nests. 3-ounce bars. 999 plus. Okay, there's only 3 nines there, unless you have a stutter. And I'm trying to remember, I think that these bars, which bars were the $300 bars? There's 2 of them, actually. Oh, nope, wrong. Don't get that number wrong. W.H. Foster. I had them marked at $1,500 each. There's a crazy, crazy market for some of these silver bars. We'll figure that out. Those may end up on eBay. They might not be that much. This early Johnson Matthey 3-ounce bar. There we go. That one's marked $300. With the JMC, the Maple Leaf, the 3-ounce, the 999. And then I'm not 100% sure on this other early Engelhard. That's another one I've got to do a little bit more research on still to figure out exactly what it is. But early type, this one may also just roll on eBay because that's where a lot of the buyers are on that type of stuff. But one of my favorite pieces is this early piece from San Francisco. Mint of the United States at San Francisco, serial number 1278995, fine. And then it's got 5.73 ounces. And so it's interesting because there's a lot of different types. So there's some of these Z's that have serifs and some who don't. For those of you who are not into any type of typology, the serif are the pieces that come off the edge, which is good to know if you're into collecting coins. There are varieties where they say that serif and sans means without. This guy here is about $5 grand on that. That's a big chunk of metal and just one of my favorite historical pieces. And we'll keep rolling with other stuff that we'll have. I might find more things to put out. Some of them may be really strange and or unusual. You know, here's another Reformation piece, the third Jubilee of the Reformation, 1817. Our God is a castle, right? Unser Gott eine Festburg ist. Pretty neat stuff. This one is another one that is a metal that I've had, I think, since before time began. I think that's about just under $100 on that guy. And I think that's where I'm gonna call it a day on the video here. But I may have some more stuff coming up down the road, full of odds and ends that we put up. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Ben the Coin Geek, and we'll catch you next time.